Mexican. Technically, I am Mexican, African American, Native American, and Dutch.
I'm Chloe. I'm Mexican, Latina, and even though I look white, I am Mexican. I'm Erica. I am Latina and Latina and African American. I'm Mexican and Creole and Native American.
My name is Goram Baga. My race is American, and my ethnicity is Indian. Strictly Punjabi.
I used to not like my skin color when I was little because my sister, although she's Arabic, she's very white. So I always thought I was different than her, so I wanted to be white, but I think I grew more comfortable in my skin, so now I'm fine. I don't think it has any disadvantages, or I haven't come upon any disadvantages.
What about you, Khadija?
I've been pretty content with my skin color. I am a lot lighter than most of my family members, so sometimes I do feel like I'm not one of them, even though I am, because I just look different. But I mean, I'm pretty happy.
I do like my skin color, but I don't because generally people from where I'm from are a little darker. So people confuse me as a white person sometimes. So sometimes it just sucks. I don't feel like I'm part of them. But I do like my skin color because I can use it as an advantage.
Sure, yeah. I'm happy with who I am. It wasn't always that way. I grew up in a Midwestern community that was pretty much all white, and I don't have a problem with that, but it's just that growing up I did face a lot of adversity and a lot of pressure, and just kind of being the oddball out, right? And so there were times growing up where I was really frustrated, and I just kind of wish I was white, I wish I didn't have to deal with this, but now I'm more mature and stuff, and I'm living in Latino, so I'm more comfortable.
It's a complicated answer. I'd say yes now, but when I was younger, I didn't because I never really felt comfortable. A lot of media outlets made me feel uncomfortable with my skin color. Even my own people made fun of my own skin color. Even people my skin color made fun of my skin color. So it just made me not want to be black at all. But now I appreciate it.
To be honest, I wish I was a little bit darker, like how Mexicans, they have a tan look, so people could actually notice that I'm actually Mexican and not Caucasian.
Are you Spanish though? Oh,
No, she's Mexican.
because Spanish or what?
I'm just Mexican. Full Mexican. Her mom's just really white. Yeah, because my dad, he's straight from Mexico and he has that tan look. He looks Mexican. My mom, she just looks Caucasian even though she is Mexican, so I get it from her.
What about you two? Do you guys like your skin?
I like my skin tone. I think mine is a pretty much perfect mixture of both. It's darker Mexican, but then I have a golden red, which is kind of weird, but I like it.
I like my skin tone. I somewhat wish I was darker, but I wish I had a little bit more black in me.
Yeah, it does. Because in my culture, the lighter you are, the more people want, let's take marriage. The lighter you are, the more a man will want to marry you. And it's just something that's just, it's just been like that. And
Is it like a class issue? Is it like if you're lighter skinned, that means that you have more wealth, or is
More
it
desirable?
yeah, I think so, because the darker you are, that means you work outside. Even back home, if you go to Pakistan and you see, they're always talking about oh, the whiter a girl is, she's inside, she doesn't have to go out a lot and stuff like that.
It's really common in South Asia or Latin America or certain black communities. It's not quite the same in Asian communities since most people are the same color. Obviously, North Koreans are very white and Malaysians can be very dark. And you will get that, sometimes they'll look down because you have darker skin. But I wouldn't say it's as extreme as certain regions.
White people are more from the middle areas of the state, and darker people more from like the border. And they're just viewed as more of working people because they work as fishermen and stuff.
Yes, definitely. Actually, I got a prime example. This happened 2 days ago. A lighter-skinned black lady was on the bus, and me and my brother are 2 different shades. He's lighter than me, I'm darker. And she thought that he was smarter than me because he was lighter than me. And she thought that I was a thug and I was stupid, and just made all these assumptions about me. It bothered me so much.
I know.
It's what happens.
There's the normal idea in which if you're a little darker, we always like lighter skin. We always want the opposite.
I think it looks better than what you are. Everyone wants to be lighter.
And then nowadays, it's not that big of a difference. A couple years ago and stuff like that, I think lighter skin was a much bigger deal in the Indian community in general.
I feel like it is in like high schools though. Like I guess in the college scene it isn't that big of a difference because we're all more mature. But in high school I know a lot of people would not like get on others about like the skin color, but the darker ones would get more crap, for like lack of better words.
But in India, the color still makes a difference. I mean, they still have like fairness creams and like products for you to use that like specifically are for you if you're darker to make you lighter. So if you're looking at specifically in India, then yeah, color makes a huge difference no matter what region.
Here, not as much.
Yeah, in America, not as much.
You want to elaborate on how the skin, what skin tone you are, what difference that makes here or compared to India? Do you want to make that comparison?
One thing I've noticed is a lot of people generally assume that if you are lighter skinned, you're North Indian, and you know, like that's just a general assumption. And so if you're like darker skinned, you're South Indian. So
I've gotten that a lot. I'm not typical color of a South Indian, so people are like, oh, if I tell them I'm South Indian, they're kind of like, oh, but aren't you supposed to be darker? Or aren't you supposed to be blacker? That's like the assumption that there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandma does it a lot. She like, just old people in general, for some reason, on like black side of the culture, they always love like the light skinned, or like they will tell you that like I will get a better position. They like praise that I am lighter skinned. They're like, oh my god, like he's good because he's lighter.
Like what the person that is telling you is. Like if they're darker, they're gonna like darker people. If they're lighter, they're gonna. I know my grandpa was telling me like back when he was growing up, because he's a light-skinned black guy, he never fit in because the black people didn't want him because he was not black, but yet the white people didn't want him because he wasn't white enough. So he didn't fit in. He felt like the awkward one out, which sometimes may happen now too.
It is a little awkward just being like how my whole family on my mom's side is, and my dad's just like, you know, they're Mexican, like, you know, and me and my mom are just like there, like as if we're like friends of the family because of how we look, or just like we're just there. But nowadays it's really like people don't care that much. Most people just don't care. Be like, hey, you're Mexican. If you're like really dark, people be like, oh my god, he's he might be in a gang because he's
It
dressed.
also all depends on like the age of the specific group, because like with my grandma, she went through the civil rights movement and she was really disgraced for like being dark, so that's why she like praises all the light skinned people in my family. But then when you start getting to the younger people, they want, like, now it's okay to be that race, and now it's actually cool to be like a different race other than like white. So they like the darker people. They like, so like with me, like you're saying your grandpa, I am too white for, I am like too light for the black side, but like if I go to like the Mexicans, I am like too dark. Then if I go to white people, I am just seen as dark, and so like I can't find anyone that like is like, oh okay, he's just black Mexican. No, I'm either black or I'm Mexican. Like they don't.
Yes.
Elaborate, my dude.
More like, okay, someone from North Punjab will hate, or vice versa, someone from South, like some North Punjab, like, you know, the north side of India will hate on someone from South, or say they're ugly because, or like they're not good looking because their skin is so dark, because South Indians are usually very dark. From Tamil, not Gujarati, Tamils, Telugus, you know? Someone like them will be like, oh, why is he so fair, and stuff like that. They don't really care. The South people, right? They think all skin is beautiful. But people who have that fair advantage of having fair skin, so they'll be like, he's too dark or she's too dark, so she's not my type already, just because of that.
sister is like, we say she's the adopted one because the
That's
three of
me.
us, we have lighter skin and she has like darker skin.
That's the exact same as me. I'm the adopted one in my family.
There's two of them.
Yeah, because my sister has curly red hair and white skin. Because she takes after like the lighter part of my family, and then I have completely brown hair, brown eyes. I think in the first grade was when I first realized it, because I used to get made fun of because I was like the darkest one, and that's probably when I first realized it. And then now it doesn't really have any negative or positive influences on me. It's just there.
My last few years of high school, because for being white, I was associated with the smarts and the popular kids rather than with the other people.
Based on your skin.
Yeah.
Growing up where I did, like day one, pretty much, I just grew up with that. It was part of everyday life.
Did you have more negative experiences, positive, or kind of in the middle?
It was pretty much always negative. I mean, like again, I don't want to blame anyone or cause anyone to stereotype like me.
High school. It was pretty equal up until then, because high school is when everyone kind of started developing their cliques and really segregating themselves by who's culturally what. So apparently I'm not culturally black.
Like ever since I was born, for some reason I felt like I've been attacked about my color. Like everyone always like had to point out how dark I was, no matter what the situation was. People who were my color, it just didn't make sense to me.
I think we have advantages sometimes for like applying to colleges because we're like a minority, so you don't find a lot of Pakistani and Palestinian people. So
That
that's
doesn't have anything to do with it.
no.
Because you find Pakistani people, but they're darker,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
and then
That's
there's some
true.
lighter.
No, not really. I mean, I don't think people see me differently just because of my skin color.
I do make a point to see race and color, but I honestly don't like try to like break it down that much. When I talk to people, I just talk to people, and then I'll notice whatever race or color you are. But if they're lighter or darker, I'm not gonna say, oh, you're treating me different because of this. But I do get treated differently by some light-skinned people because they look at me differently.
And why do you think that is, though?
Because it's just like how the culture sees itself. Since everyone else sees light skin as better, they see themselves as better than me. So they look at me like, they're better than me. And I get treated. I feel that difference. I feel that they think they're better than me.
Like I said before, the bullying, the making fun of, it's kind of my skin color is kind of a disadvantage for, if I say like, oh, Mexican food is like the specific, like if like call him the corn man, the guy who sells the corn in like the neighborhood or whatever. Like I would say, oh, I could go for that right now. Oh, it's so good. And they would just feel like, why do you like you're not even Mexican? How can you like Mexican foods that much and you're not even Mexican? I'd be like, well, even though like it kind of it's hurtful and it's the advantage is I don't like have like gang related or anything towards me, since I have a light skin tone to me, and some people tell me that I'll be able to get in a higher position because of my skin tone, which is kind of a little mean, but I mean it might be true to have a higher advantage because even though I'm Mexican, I have a lighter skin tone.
More popular wise in the Indian culture wise, like fair skin is more accepted, like especially someone like especially during motherfucking like wedding time. If it's wedding time or like someone trying to find you a groom or a bride, they're like, oh, he has to be like, how North Indian culture is, they try to find if he's like fair and stuff, and like he's up to height and all that, but like especially if he's fair and stuff, like he doesn't have like no scars on his skin, or like he's in darker than you. He should be fair, like because like fairness, like I don't know, because like there's this darkness looks dirty. That's like the whole thing. Darkness is dirty, and like fairness is light. So that's what they approach the way.
And when there is a darker person, they're not usually the main character.
Because I mean, if you look at movies, most of the time, like the majority of the time, it is people with lighter skin that are in movies.
But it just depends. Yeah, it depends.
But there
on
are
the people,
other movies
yeah.
that aren't like that. But I mean, I would say the majority of them are.
It's people's preference.
I think it does. I mean, purely by race, like a lot of Asian Americans look down on black people, but within Asians, like yeah, you'll get that where you wouldn't see. Like I know in Vietnam, when you watch the news, you see mostly light-skinned colored people. You don't see Hmong, who are the native Vietnamese people, or like Masigno. Like you don't see them because they just don't exist in the region. If there was like a Malaysian Vietnamese person, you wouldn't see them on the news either because they would probably have darker skin. Again, it's not a huge difference in complexion, but still.
Well, like lighter skin is usually seen as like more beautiful in like media to every other culture, even in our own. And darker skin is seen as ugly, stupid, and sort of those same assumptions that other lady on the bus made towards me.
Lighter skin can be very, very light. Although in South Indian movies, not anymore. You see a lot of really, you see a lot of people that look literally like people that you'd find on the street. Like they look like homeless people, but they actually are movie actors, act in the movies and everything like that. So in South India, it's not necessarily the case. That's for men. For women, it's still you have to look absolutely beautiful, be fair skinned, so on and so
You wake up with a full set of makeup.
yeah.
I don't see there's anything wrong with that. We're all different, so it's just we're the same type of people, just different skin colors. I don't think I perceive them differently.
Am I racist? Yeah. Like, we're all racist, right? 'Cause, I mean, we all grew up in this society and we were all trained in a way to believe certain stereotypes. Like, sometimes when I see a darker skinned Asian, like, in the back of my head, I kind of think, like, oh, he probably comes from a lower class family where he's not as educated. But I know that I remind myself, like, dude, that's really effed up. It's just, I'm used to that.
I don't, but I notice others that do, and there are jokes made, like, if you notice, like, Vines, you go on, there's a Vine war going on between, it's called the light-skinned, dark-skinned war, and so, you know, light-skinned dudes make jokes about dark-skinned dudes, and then dark-skinned dudes make jokes about
No, because of course, what Indians are, we're dark and stuff, some are fair, but at the same time, like, I've grown up like in like a more like a black culture than I have in an Indian culture, so there's so many, like, there's black people, so I've approved them, and I've grown up with the white people, so that we're in between, then I accept, like, the whole whitest, I can accept the most blackest, so people that are, like, around my skin color, they're all approved by me. It's more, I guess, personality, and, like, a look, like, the prettier now, but that's something else, you know, skin color, like, any skin color could look beautiful, depending, like, just on, well, that's just, you know, personal. Shout out to Khadija, and shout out to anyone who's insecure about your skin color. It ain't about your skin color, it's about who you are as a person. Show them that you have the best skin color ever, and spread skin color happiness.
Don't tell me you're like recording all that, 'cause